Baby, don't you know that when I'm smoking that loud, got my head in plumes and clouds, you're the one I think of. Baby, don't you know that it's gonna go down when I hit the bottom now, you're the one I think of.
Boy, will you hit me up? I lost control. Will you help me? Love about a liquor boy, will you hit me up? I lost control. Will you help me? I lost control. Will you help me?
Cause it really feels like I might be losing my grip. Oh yeah, I am. What you gonna say? What you gonna do when I lost control? We had lost, yeah, we lost control. Yeah, we lost control.
Love about a liquor boy, will you hit me up? I lost control. Will you help me? Love about a liquor boy, will you hit me up? I lost control. Will you help me? I lost control. Will you help me?
Well, hello and welcome. My name is Michael McLeod, as you saw on the intro screen. Hopefully, maybe not. It's been a long time since I've done a broadcast. I think a few months actually. So I'm gonna be feeling a little bit rusty out here. Hopefully not. Let's see what happens. We have a lot of cars on the grid for the Porsche Cup Euro Global Division race. Holy smokes! We have here. I think you can see on the track map, there's 29 cars out there right now in open qualifying. We do run in open qualifying. I'm going to turn up some sound so that you can hear. Where'd my sound go? That's funny. Anyways, I think I'll get some sound if I go a little closer. Where now? Oh well. I'll have to figure that one out shortly. There we go. There, we got our car sound back. Crisis averted. Okay. Anyways, sorry about that. As I was saying, my name is Michael McLeod. I'm going to be the broadcaster for this race here. We have 39 cars on the grid, which is absolutely incredible. There's going to be a lot of names. Hopefully I can pronounce all of them. We have 2 flying laps that you are allowed to do in the open qualifying session. They have 10 minutes, and you have 2 flying laps that you're allowed to do. And what that means is you can go out there and do as many laps as you want, but only 2 flying laps. Most of these drivers, because it is 10 minutes qualifying, most of these drivers appear to be taking that first chance to do their flying lap. Maybe they're going to rest their tires and wait for another chance to do it again. But I would say that's actually unlikely. I think that most of these guys are going to be out there doing 1 lap, then another lap right after the other. With 10 minutes and a 2-minute 20-second lap, it's a lot of risk to take that little bit of a break. Gotta say. So there it is. There's Philip Hammer and Nicholas Nolda, and they've now completed their very first lap. I'll be able to pull up the timing that shortly. You can see the times flying across the bottom of the screen, and those are the laps, lap times that these guys are going to be setting. We'll be dividing everyone into pro and amateur class as we go. The way that works, if you haven't read how our pro and amateur works, whoever qualifies in the top 35% of the field during qualifying, remember, whoever's in the top 35% will be automatically placed into the pro division. And the purpose of that is that we qualify, all of our drivers, we qualify by pace. Some of these guys, you're new. How do we know how fast or slow or whichever you are? So wherever you qualify yourself, that's gonna be your pro or your amateur status. I've come across a lot of guys who's 3, 4, 5,000 I rating, but when they jump into another car, they're absolutely, I don't know, out to lunch. And so this is one of the main reasons actually we came up with this kind of structure, is that maybe someone wants to try the Porsche Cup car coming from, say, the Skippy or the TCRs. Their I rating's pretty high, and a lot of leagues say, oh, you're over 3,000 I rating, you're going to be in the pro class. And we want everyone to feel like they're fighting against someone of similar pace, and that's where that comes from. We also, if you check out our standing spreadsheet, track who gets the fastest lap and how many times do you come within 1% of that fastest lap, that race fastest lap. So it's actually a really cool statistic. There's a lot of cool statistics inside of that spreadsheet, so go check it out. The person who made that spreadsheet is none other than Philip Hammer, so he's done some nice league work things for us that we've all been able to luckily enjoy, such as that spreadsheet. What an amazing spreadsheet. Time's flying across the bottom of the screen. We have 2 minutes left, so anyone who's starting a lap right now, I really don't think that they're going to be able to finish it. So let me see if I pull up the timing tower. Let's see if the timing tower, because I am doing this broadcast off of a replay, there's going to be some advantages and disadvantages. I won't be able to do a replay within a replay. It loses track of where I am on the timing. So let's see. Here we are. There we go. There is everyone's best lap. So Philip Hammer's got a 2:19.2. He's what, 6/10 of a second ahead of his teammate. Bruno's not far off. Daniel Thomas, Jordan Strudwick. Am I gonna say all of them? Maybe not. I'm gonna just hopefully my voice chat is muted. Anyways. So I'm going to just read through some of these names. I think that my prediction is where everyone's at right now is pretty close to where they'll end up through their qualifying, other than Dan McFarlane, who just placed himself within that pro division. You can see top 35% ends at Joshua, Germany. So Philip Hammer looking like he's provisional pole. We got 30 seconds remaining. Yeah, there's no way anyone's going to be completing any more laps. You can see on the track map where Philip is. I think he's essentially the closest, and he's already done his too. He's just out there doing some practice laps. Philip Hammer on pole. Nicholas Nolde. Bruno Heinrich is in third here. Going to be on the second row with Daniel Thomas, Jordan Strudwick, Samuel Lindelof. Emil Koopman's an amazing qualifying lap from Emil. I know he said that he hates Spa, and look at him all the way up there. Bogdan Moldovan. Okay, I am not going to be able to finish this list. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull this up right here. You can take a look at exactly how far off their qualifying times were from the leaders. I really don't have enough time to go through that. And it's my first time reading some of these names. So here it is. This is exactly how many cars we got on the grid. Look at that. That is absolutely incredible. Thank you everyone for attending this race. And I hope that you had fun watching it back during this race, all the things. And yeah, and at the very bottom, you can see a few people. Bernardo Faria not saying a qualifying time, surprisingly. Rumor has it he was playing around fiddling with his webcam and it just wasn't working and trying to get it working. Technical errors. It sometimes goes like that, doesn't it, eh? So Bernardo Faria at the very back. Big shocker for... I know I wasn't going to say any names, but that one stood out for me to be at the very back of such a big field. That is a huge disadvantage. Huge disadvantage. Now let's pull that away. So we're going to be heading now into our heat race. Let's see. There's the best view. You got Barney on the right side of the screen. Here's going to be the best view. We're just waiting for everyone to hit that grid button. You have 2 minutes to get into your cars, get ready, and then the lights will be going up on the side of the screen. Everyone revs up their engine, and then they take off for turn one. Turn one, let's see how this goes. This is going to be the first time with a lot of these drivers racing against each other, so nobody knows how any of the others behave or drive out on the track. So it's going to be very, very fascinating how this first lap and this first race start of the season goes. We have 10 more seconds. Here we go. Here you can hear the engines revving up as we go right there. Oh, and there's a go in Adam Schmidt and Vincent. A little bit of a chaos in the very back. Oh, and a lot of chaos in the middle of that pack, and what that means is there's going to be a lot of movers and shakers as we head into Eau Rouge and Radillion for the very first time. So Philip Hammer, I'm going to pull up. There we go. There we go, heading down the Camel Straight towards Lacombe's for the very first time. We have a bunch of 2 wide, 3 wide. Is there going to be anyone who has to serve a slow down penalty? You're going to see them on the right side as we head into Lacombe's. There is just a whole whack of cars. There's the first slowdown server right there, Alexander Redhead. He's serving that slowdown and he's just having to lose a lot of positions. A little bit of an incident there. This looks like Sander is involved. Sander drives it. I'm not even gonna bother right now. There's just way too many cars. You guys are out there in droves. Holy smokes. There's a 2 wide, 3 wide. And there is a car that's also spun around. There must have been contact. Zayn Iqbal. And then this other guy, Mahai Zaharia. Now he's getting back onto the track. Okay, so not a lot of good moments in the very middle to the back of the field. So we're gonna look at the very front. The very front of the field, Philip Hammer. He has a 6 to 7 tenths gap to Bruno Heinrich. Bruno Heinrich got ahead of Nicholas Nold through, I believe it was Lacombe's, made it up the inside down through that drafty section, and we have just an absolute train of cars coming through. And I have a track map so that I don't forget what these corners are called as they head around Blanchimont right now. We're following along with Alejandro Advani. I'm going to head up to Emil Koopmans, who is going 2 wide through the chicane. This is a 2x2, and he's just able to just slightly stay ahead of Samuel Lindelof. This just was a lot of action, a little bit, another 2x2. This Thorsten Seifert, Dennis Ronsford. Let's go by the car numbers, because that's what I can see easiest right about here, right about now. And that means car number 87 able to sneak ahead, 96 and 63, and all of them right there as well. Down the Camel Straight, these guys are fighting for their lives. Absolutely amazing action. I can't keep my eyes off this. The 2 cars in the front, 87, 96, as they head towards this braking zone. Who is going to win in the feat of bravery? Car 96, Bogdan Moldovan, able to sneak ahead under braking and come out of that corner on top. And he's now ahead of this very, very long train. How long is this train of cars that he's now ahead of? Right there. There's Daniel Valk making a nice, easy pass on Neil Killen right there into sorry, that is not Rivage, that is Bruxelles. And all the way back up to Bogdan Moldovan. There is just contact the whole way through for all those cars. One tiny mistake, and that's the rush of racing in one of these huge grid races. One tiny mistake, you can go from 10th position all the way back to 25th, 35th. It's, you know what, it's quite a thrill. At the very front. Oh, and Bruno Heinrich goes a little bit wide. Is that gonna punish him on the tires on a slowdown? I don't think so, but luckily for these drivers at the very front, Philip Hammer, Bruno Heinrich, Nicholas Nolda, they have broken away from the likes of Jordan Strudwick and Daniel Thomas. So this is going to be a few different races all on its own. That is going to play into the hands of Philip Hammer, Bruno, and Nicholas at the very front. They can't, they don't have to take a lot of risk in battling. Oh, and Thorsten Seifert missed his braking point into the chicane, and he's now gone wide. He's going to be losing a lot of positions off of that one. That is going to be a painful moment for Thorsten Seifert. Absolutely painful. So we're going to look at the front of the second train of cars right here. The very second train of cars. And where is it? They head down the Kemmel Street. I don't think there's going to be much passing there. Here we go. Up. Ooh. Up Bradillion right there. Heading onto that straight. And there is Thorsten Seifert getting passed by potentially two cars. There's Bernardo Faria making a pass on Thorsten Seifert. Thorsten Seifert tucking in behind Matthias Detige. Oh, I didn't want to miss that, but I think I just did, just barely. It looked like Nicholas Nolda was trying to go around the outside through Bruxelles, and it just did not work. So he is still stuck behind the likes of Bruno Heinrich. Very, very intense at the very front. Very intense, absolutely everywhere. I think the only person on this grid, I can't say this last name properly. I have such a North American tongue. It's not even funny. I think it's Detige. Yeah, I have no clue. There's Bernardo Faria making another pass. Making some short, quick, easy passes for Bernardo, starting at the very back. Which, like I was saying, is very shocking, very surprising. He's one of the drivers that could have been at the very front challenging Philip, Bruno, and Nicholas, and through, I'm not sure exactly what, I think it was technical difficulties, just had to start much further back. Unfortunate. I really wanted to see that race, I'll be honest. Here is Alejandro Advani with Jens Roscher. Are they going to be too wide through Blanchimont? Oh, here we go. And Alejandro's still a little bit ahead, but oh, and that is going to be a slowdown. That is going to be a huge slowdown for Jens, and that is not going to help him. He is going to have to lose a lot of positions serving that slowdown. But if you look, oh, wrong car. There you go. Alexander Redhead is not far from all those positions he lost in that slowdown earlier. Is trying to gain it back. Is this going to be a 3 wide in the turn 1? Here we go. Car 31 on the inside. Alexander Redhead on the outside. 99 on the middle, and we've survived. Wow! And Gordon Marshall trying to sneak up. Are we gonna go? No way. This is gonna be too wide through Eau Rouge, is it? No, and everyone's just trying to shuffle their way in, out, and around to be able to make it through this is crazy. These guys are not holding back. They want to fight every possible corner. This is intense. No one's giving an inch, and you look at that. So much fighting. That's put Alexander Redhead after that. After Eau Rouge, way ahead of that group and out of possible danger. My apologies if I'm not saying your full name and just the car number. There's just so much going on. So I will say it now. Is 99 car 99 Gregory Vranks raced with us many seasons ago. So I'm really enjoying seeing some of these familiar names coming back to us to enjoy the racing once again. Gordon Marshall, Alexander Redhead, he's been a very consistent driver with us for many seasons. And I think that's it within that group of cars there that was really battling it out. Benjamin DePape, another driver who raced with us many seasons ago, and he's now back, was a very quick driver when he raced with us previously, so I'm really curious to see how he does this season. Oh, and here we go, Bogdan Moldovan. Is he gonna go up the inside on Emil Koopmans? He is really pushing those brakes, those tires, and it is not helping him on exit. That little bit, there you go, that little bit of sideways, and it's gonna harm those tires. If he drives like that for a long time, it's gonna be hard to keep the car underneath him. And I think that the drivers behind are definitely taking note. They're watching, and many of these drivers that have not driven against each other, as far as I know, quite yet. So it's going to become quite interesting to see how they handle that as the season goes on and learn each other. At the very front, it looks like Philip Hammer. He's being challenged just a little bit, but not much. A little further back, we're going to have Jordan Strudwick is going to be leading that second train of Porsches, as you can see. And it's just back to that whole mentality of one tiny mistake and you lose so much. Oh, man. Here we go. Alejandro being challenged by Alexander Redhead. Alexander Redhead going deep on the brakes, and that is not helping his cause. He's got Gordon Marshall trying to get by. Is Gordon Marshall going to get by on... Oh, and Redhead is choosing that defensive line. He's saying, you got to go around the outside. Little bit of a bump, and Gordon Marshall is not having an easy time trying to get by some of these cars, and it looks like his tires are on the struggle bus just a little bit. Every position, people are fighting tooth and nail. So all I gotta say is, wow, it looks like a great time. Great time. I want to take a look at the second train of Porsches. There is so much happening. Actually, I see right now Gregory Vranks. There's so many great battles going on. Gregory Vranks is challenging Gordon Marshall, who's having a little bit of a struggle trying to make some passes here as well. Jens Rocher, I say that with a little bit of a French tongue, maybe not so ideal, because it is German. I think it's a throat kind of name. Anyways, Redhead now going side by side with Sander Dreiger. Anyways, car number 84 going... Oh, and Gordon Marshall up the inside under braking, and that was quite brave, and it just did not pay off. That was very brave, and that was very good that nothing bad happened from that. Very lucky. Very lucky. At the very front of the pack, we are going to take a look at Philip Hammer and Bruno Heinrich as they head into Les Combes. So Bruno Heinrich seems to be happy enough to just follow in the wake of car number 6, Philip Hammer. Bruno Heinrich and Nicholas Nold. Is Nicholas Nold going to try and make a pass on Bruno Heinrich? I'm not sure. Maybe yes, maybe no. This is actually a really great time. We have 2 minutes left to see. Where is it? Gains, losses. Here it is. This is my favorite stat, especially in a big field race. Who are the biggest winners and losers of the race session? The biggest ones that have biggest tears of joy or tears of sorrow. You can see Thorsten Seifert down 6, Bernard Fari up 24. A lot of guys up just a tiny bit. Wherever they started, they are still close to it. So it's good racing for a lot of drivers. Only a few that are missing out big time. Matthias, Adam Schmidt, way down in 14th. There's a few. Oh, these were the guys that were involved in that first lap, not even at the first turn collision. So that explains why they're so far back, unfortunately for them. So they would be definitely the biggest losers of the race on that one. Bogdan Moldovan. So take note of that car, 96. He's going to have one more lap to go. Someone went wide. Oh, and there goes Dan McFarlane. He's gone way wide, and that's a perfect display of one tiny mistake. And look how far back you've gone just off of one tiny mistake. Absolutely insane. Emil Koopman's now battling it out against Dennis Ronsdorf, and he's gonna have to concede that position as they head through Eau Rouge. There's no way that these guys are gonna try and take that too wide. I know Emil, he's gonna try and wait that out, get that draft, and challenge for that position heading into Lecombs. And as we look, this is Nicholas Nolde and Bruno Heinrich. Nicholas Nolde, is he gonna go round the outside and get that more advantageous line on the second part of the corner? Oh, and these guys are still going for it. Nicholas Nolde wants second position. Does he ever? Bruno Heinrich, shorter distance traveled is going to pay off. Bruno Heinrich able to pull out ahead just barely. Wow. And here is Emil Koopmans. Unfortunately, we missed that pass. So Emil Koopmans, just as I predicted, down the Kemmel Straight into Lecombs, took that position back. So that's a perfect bird's eye view, I guess, in a sense, of why you would want to actually hold off. Maybe not push all the time. Just wait it just a tiny bit and you can get that position back. No problem. Right there. Emil came out ahead. Sorry, I gotta clear my throat. I guess I'm still sick. It's been 2 weeks. Imagine that, eh? Sorry about that. So I'm gonna just take a quickie peek here at Benjamin de Pape, Joshua, Germany. Is that last name really? Is that really your last name, Joshua? That's pretty funny. We have a lot of German drivers with us, so I think they're totally a fan of your last name. That's why. Into the chicane for the very last time. There is Bruno Heinrich. He is still in second. Jordan Strudwick just barely behind. Daniel Thomas not challenging his teammate too much. And wow, look at this. There's Benjamin Pape. He wants, a little bit of a bump. And I think Benjamin is going to let him have that position back. That is a gentleman move from Benjamin de Pape. That is beautiful. Daniel Valk taking a little bit of an off-road tour to that finish line. There's Thorsten Seifert down 6 positions, unfortunately. John Bailiff. I'm going to go with Bailiff. Neil Killen coming across in 18. Razvan Pahontu. That's an easy one. Thank you. Sander Dreiser. Here's the moment that I get to mess up all of your names and you get to laugh at how badly I say it, okay? How's that? Andre Bogdan Karamadaro. That one's easy. That one's so easy. Anyway, Alexander Redhead. More names like that. How about that? Yeah? Anyways. That will be, I think, the completion of our sprint race. So I'm going to take this timing tower down so that I can bring up... Where is it? Here we go. There is the finishing results of that race. Hey, bring it back. Thank you. Bring it back. There we go. So Philip Hammer, congratulations on that sprint race win. That is intense racing. So you can see the green highlighted are the Pro Division qualifying drivers. The white are the amateur. Benjamin de Pape just barely in the amateur amateur field, able to make up a decent amount of positions on some of the pro drivers, and some of the pro drivers not faring as well as they would have hoped, I'm sure. To have just a few positions lost. So let's take a look. Let's scroll it down just a little bit. So there we go. Here is the bottom of our finishers. Gregory Geenberg, did he? Yeah, he did race. He did start 6 laps down. There's a 7-lap race. So yes, indeed, he did start. Philip Straffarelli, 5 laps down. He just had a terrible time. Philip Straffarelli, very fast driver, but for some reason, we gotta get him into the right mindset so that he can finish a race. It's always a mystery. Nice guy, so hopefully he can figure that out one day. There's a lot of drivers that don't know you exactly, and I'm going to be learning about you, more like your on-track conduct as we go through the season. So far, so good, I think. Let's scroll it up a little bit. There we go. A little bit more of that midfield, and that midfield is going to be where I think a lot of action is going to be taking place. Just a slight difference in pace or corner ability through, say, position 20 to position 35, and it's going to create a lot of action. So before the next race starts, I'm going to go over my first 3 key points of this next race, of any race, but mostly this next race. 1, get a good start. Do not spin the tires, and just make sure that you're starting at the same rate as the other guys around you. Number 2, just stay consistent. Don't make any mistakes. Don't get any slowdowns. Don't do anything crazy. Just not running a nice, easy, consistent race, I believe, is going to do very, very well for you. And that's all that's really important to me, I think, is just nice, easy, consistent race, nothing too crazy. And the third one, just be easy on the tires, and it will pay off in those last 10 minutes. I guarantee you on that one. So this is going to be our reverse grid top 8. Where is that? If I can show you, oh, it won't show quite yet. It will show very shortly. So the top 8 finishers are going to be reversed in a 30-minute feature for this second race. So this one's going to be for twice as many race points, and with the reverse grid in 30 minutes, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of action. Let's see if these drivers can get the race start better this time. You can hear the engines revving up. The lights are going to be in the middle of the screen for these drivers. And here we go, and everyone's gotten a nice, easy start. No spinning this time. As we head into turn 1, let's get a glimpse eye view on exactly how this one's going. And wow, this is going to be a 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide in the very back as we head through the first corner. I always forget that's it. It's called La Source. La Source. Is anyone going to be risking it for the biscuit? 2 wide. Here we go. There is a 2 wide driver. It looked like Alexander ahead. That is going to be one big slowdown. And that is one of the key points that I've said, gotta avoid that. Here we go. That looks like Nicholas Nold going up the inside, trying to gain some positions super, super early. I'm going to go into better camera view so we can see exactly what's happening for all of these cars as we head on through. It looks like Tyler Marigula going a little bit wide, maybe missing his braking point. And this is just absolutely insane. As you can see, they're going through Bruxelles. There is Gordon Marshall, a little bit of damage on his car, it looks like. I'm going to look at the very front of the pack. I really don't know how this race finishes. And check this out. I can actually put this together to see who is the amateur and who is the pro. And how they're doing in their own class. Isn't that pretty awesome? Technology, eh? But for now, I'm going to do overall tower just for the moment. And so now, let's pull away the gains and the losses just to get a little bit more screen real estate. Wow, this is incredible. So if you think about this statistic right here, right now, Bogdan Moldovan is in first. And if you look all the way back here, and you can see on that timing tower, all the way back here, they're still very much in contact, in draft range to P1 after one full lap. There's Bernardo Faria, I think, making a move. There's Mihai Zaharia making a move on Sander. Gordon Marshall, he is trying to think about how to get his way on through as well, and this is just intense. At the very front, into La Source, these cars are just in an absolute huge train. That's a lot of trust. There's Bernard Faria making that move. He's trying to be a mover and shaker, and it did not do him so well. It looks like he just got challenged back for that position, so that didn't exactly help his cause. So I'm going to head right back at the very front. Dennis Ronsdorf with Bogdan Moldovan. Bogdan looks like he wants to throw the defensive line on Dennis. Dennis going to try going around the outside, but I'm really doubtful, and that's going to open up for attack from these cars behind. Nicholas Nolda already made his way into the 5th position. He is being chased down from Bruno Heinrich, Jordan Stredwick, and where is Philip Hammer? There is Philip the Hammer right there. So Philip Hammer, he's much more patient of a driver. You can see he's in 9th right now. And there goes Samuel Lindelow, just a little bit wide, and nice easy pass for Philip Hammer. We watched it there live-ish. Anyhow. I'm always curious to see in these types of races. I've watched Philip Hammer for many seasons. He usually plays the game of patience. He has a lot of pace, just as a lot of these drivers here do, and tends to prefer the patience game. Nicholas Nolda and Bruno Heinrich, much more aggressive on trying to get to that very front and hopefully start trying to run away with the race. And I'm always curious to see in each race that these guys are in, which one is the winning strategy. I gotta be honest, it's quite variable. I've actually seen both win. Both strategies have done well. So here's Nicholas Nolda up the inside into chicane on to Daniel Thomas. Is Daniel Thomas able to hold that off? No, and round the outside, and then on the... Wow. On the curbing, able to get a better exit. Bruno Heinrich following on through, and he is just using Nicholas Nolda to make up some of those positions. Is he going to have to concede that spot as they head into the combs? And there it is. That is exactly how it goes. Oh, it looks like Sander has spun. I don't see any damage on his car, so I think that he's spun. Yep. Self-inflicted injury, as I like to call it. Oh, and there goes Bruno Heinrich around the outside into the combs under the braking zone here, in the braking zone on Daniel Thomas. Daniel Thomas has now lost 2 positions in just the last lap. I'm going to pick another car to follow along with. Here's Vincent Ravesloot. That's a fine name. I like that. Ravesloot. I like that. And then Zane Iqbal just a little bit behind with Ryan Moles. Ryan Moles, welcome to the league. I know this is your first season. Zane Iqbal, same thing. Glad to have you here. Vincent Ravesloot, I know you're part of the Apex Missers. So, love seeing these cars. I love the paint jobs on you guys, and yeah, bring more, please. Look, this is fighting for P24. Where? Oh, something's happening. Dan McFarlane is battling Benjamin DePape. And this is not a super common place to go too wide. And Dan McFarlane took his chances. A little bit of a better exit out of all those corners, and away he goes. He's now ahead of Benjamin DePape. And I think he gained that overlap under braking most likely fairly. I know Danny races fairly. And just able to stick it and stick through it. There's a lot of battles. This is actually now the perfect time to go grouped towers just to see exactly where is everyone. And there we go. There is Neil Killen. He is being chased by Mihai Zaharia into the source. A little bit further ahead, you've got Daniel Valk being chased by John Bailiff. Is that John Bailiff? Nope, that is not. Yep, that is John Bailiff. So we have a lot of little battles. Everyone's got a little bit of a tango partner, as you may, throughout this race. Really like seeing that. Thorsten Seifert looks like, did he just make a pass? I think he did. And I'm yeah. So Daniel, looks like he got a slow down because how would John be ahead of him now? There you go. And there's just so much going on. This is so hard to follow. I'm gonna just pick a car for a little bit and see how that one goes. Oh boy. Bogdan, okay, so I'm gonna head out to the very front. Bogdan Moldovan, he is in P1 still after 4 laps. So he had the benefit of the doubt with the reverse grid. And look at this, his pace is still holding on. He's got Dennis Ronsdorf also exactly where he started in this race, in second position. With Emil Koopmans, who had a nice benefit off that reverse grid, is showing strong pace, holding on to third. But if you look just a tiny bit further back, those race winners from that 15-minute race, I would say the race winners as in the podium winners, Nicholas Nolda and Bruno Heinrich. There's Daniel Thomas, Jordan Strudwick. Philip Hammer is much, much further back. So he's playing that patient game. Really curious to see if that pays off, because if he keeps playing that patient game too long, he's going to be much further behind those guys that he's generally on pace with to be at the very front with. So, oh, and there's Nicholas Nolda trying to make a pass on Emil Koopmans as they head towards La Source. You can see the noses dive down under braking, and Nicholas Nolda getting the great exit on the outside, and Emil Koopmans has now been passed around the outside through La Source, and that is that is not a common place to make a pass. And here's Bruno Heinrich. He does not want to lose the likes of Nicholas Nolda. Guarantee he's going to be trying to take quick, swift action on this right here, right now. Is Emil Koopmans going to go for the inside, the outside? Is he going to make it easy? Going to make it difficult? He is giving up that inside lane position. That is an interesting strategy by Emil Koopmans, but he is giving only an inch or two for Bruno Heinrich. Bruno making use of the tiny amount of inches he was given, and that is now, unfortunately for Emil, brought Daniel Thomas super close. These guys are still going at it with the defensive lines being thrown from Bruno. Daniel Thomas, though, he is brought right back into the back of them, and that is the unfortunate reality of when you battle, the cars behind you get significantly closer. And would you look at that? So here's Jordan Strudwick is right behind Philip Hammer. So Philip Hammer made a pass on Jordan Strudwick. We must have missed that one. Fortunately, unfortunately, there's just so much going on. I can't do it. My brain is in overload. Absolute overload. Total shock. So earlier we saw Dan McFarlane and Benjamin DePape going for that battle here. And right in this part of the track, funny enough, so Dan got ahead, but not able to lose the likes of Benjamin DePape. So they've caught up to the back of car number 40, Joshua Germany. And if he's not careful, he's got two very fast cars right behind him. And you know what? I'm going to have to bet that Dan's going to try and make a move, because he doesn't want Benjamin to try and... Oh, that's going to be a slowdown for Dan. Ooh, holy smokes. There it is. That's definitely gonna be a slowdown, I think. Let's see if he has to serve a slowdown. Oh, no, it's just an off track. He got very, very lucky. Here's Daniel Thomas making a pass attempt on Emil Koopmans round the outside on the source. Who's going to get the better exit? And here we go. Emil Koopmans on the inside. These guys are side-by-side drag race to Eau Rouge. And if you look a little bit further ahead, there is Nicholas Nold. He is ahead still of Bruno Heinrich. And I think Dennis Ronsdorf and Bruno Heinrich are teammates. They seem to be teammates. They have the same color car. You would have to assume that they are, wouldn't you? Anyways, bad jokes this evening, aren't they? And Nicholas Nold up the inside into Lacombe's, and there goes Bruno Heinrich following on through. And Daniel Thomas almost able to make a move on that one as well with Emil Koopmans and Philip Hammer, who his patience... He's just having a lot of patience round the outside through Bruxelles. Is he going to be able to make this one work? What? No way! And there you go, Philip Hammer. His tire savings has paid off because on lap 6, the very unlikely pass round the outside. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? A little bit further back. Christian Rizika, he is at the very back of that huge group. So... Now let's go to the second train of cars, because we've got Samuel Lindlow, and he's got Jordan Strudwick, Thorsten Seifert, Joshua Germany, Dan McFarlane, Benjamin Pape, all right here. You can see them. They are all battling for almost the same position. Wow, so this is P9. P9 all the way to P14 is in this group right here, so that is super, super intense. As they head through Blanchimont, we have 16 minutes remaining in this race, which, you know what? Whoa, that's very close to a slowdown for Joshua Germany. So Dan McFarlane went way out there and didn't have to serve a slowdown. Here's Jordan Strudwick trying to make a move. Oh, and he went round the outside on the second part of the chicane, able to get ahead of Samuel Lindlow and putting pressure on car number 199. Seems to be working out for Jordan Strudwick, and through La Source, that shorter distance traveled is paying off, and now he is ahead. Where? What happened? What happened? I saw Benjamin Pape few positions down, so there he is battling out back again with Dan McFarlane. Dan does not want to give up that position easy, and these guys, I think they're going to be at it all race long. A little bit further ahead, Sam Lindelof, he's now received a slowdown. Oh, so all of that hard work to stay in that position, now it just a little bit thrown away. I think he had a slowdown. I'm not sure, but he was definitely going slower than everyone else. And there they go. Oh, this is intense. Some defensive lines through Bruxelles. And Dan McFarlane's now got a car up the inside. Maybe a little bit too defensive for Dan. And, there was a nose there. That is the nose of Benjamin Pape. A little bit too defensive. And it didn't pay off for Dan McFarlane, who's down a whole bunch of positions and battling with cars that he maybe didn't think he'd be battling with. So that's going to help them at the very front there. Jordan Strudwick, wow, look at that. He's got a nice gap. Christian Rizika also has a very, very nice gap to the cars behind him. Jordan Strudwick 3 seconds back. So Thorsten Seifert, one of the greatest strengths of Thorsten might not necessarily be the outright pace, but is the consistency lap after lap that Thorsten can put in. I've seen him race for many, many seasons now, and generally that consistency is one of his strongest points of his racecraft. So he's got Joshua Germany and Samuel Lindlow, who most likely is going to try and fight back for some of those positions that he's just lost. Wow, Jordan Strudwick, after all that pressure, all that battling, he's come out ahead of that train of cars. Thorsten Seifert getting really brave under braking, almost making contact. That was bloody close, I gotta say. I'm going to take a look right now here at Daniel Thomas. There is Daniel Thomas. So Dennis Ronsdorf was in second position previously and is no longer in second. He's in fourth position, so we unfortunately did miss some of the passes going on there between that front group. But you know what? No matter where I look, there's absolutely so much action going on. There's no wrong answer on what to look at, I gotta say. And here we can see even more action. This Thorsten Seifert making a pass on Jordan Strudwick. Jordan Strudwick letting him go easy. And is he trusting in the German to take off and build that gap between him and the cars behind of Joshua Germany and Samuel Lindelof? Oh, and you know what? Benjamin Pop is still very much there. Oh, and Lindelof, is he going to try to go around the outside? And that is a very brave move to make, but it opened him up to be passed by Benjamin Pop. Absolutely insane. Wow. And that is very, very lucky. And Jordan Strudwick's lost a position there as well. Joshua Germany's made up one spot. He's up into 10th now. And where is it? There we go. So Thorsten Seifert was given an absolute gift down the Camel Straight. Absolute gift. I'm going to take a look here at Gregory Vranks. He is really, really close to Mihai Zaharia. And I'm really curious. I keep using that word really, don't I? Really, 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 really. Really curious if Gregory Vranks is going to try and make a pass. And there we go. A little bit of a mistake from Mihai. And that's given Gregory an opportunity to get side by side. A little bit of an over-under. Is there some overlap? A little bit of brake lights I see from Gregory. Not wanting to make contact. Wanting to make that pass nice and clean. Fair and square. As they head through that back straight. It's not exactly a straight. A little bit of a curve. And then you go through Blanchimont. What happened to Jordan Strudwick? I just gotta take a look at this really quick. Oh, and Jordan Strudwick did not fuel enough. Oh, and there it goes. Samuel Lindelof. He was having such a great race, and he just had a little bit of a spin coming out of that corner, and that just did not help his race either. Jordan Strudwick going through the pits. I have no idea why. Yup, there you go. He did not take enough fuel for the 30-minute race, and he just got things I can't say on the air. You know, that's what happened to Jordan Strudwick, unfortunately. He is having such a great race. You know what, my heart goes out to him, honestly, because that is a tough spot to be when you have such a great race, great drive, so much pace and potential, and you just forget the fuel. And yeah, there's Philip Hammer round the outside once again through Bruxelles and Rivage. Wow. So Daniel Thomas lost that spot there now to Philip Hammer. And so Philip, playing the patient game, has a lot of cars that he's got to go past now and make up a lot of pace difference, time delta, gap, whatever you would want to call that, really. To the car ahead, which is this. So with 9.5 minutes, and these guys already at the very high level of racing, of pace, to make up that amount of distance on the track, that's a tall order, real tall order, I gotta say. So, oh, Bruno Heinrich going really, really wide on that. I can take a look a little further back. We've got Dan McFarlane, who's directly behind Gordon Marshall. Ooh, this is getting spicy right here. You got Vincent Ravesloot in the front of this group here. And I think there's a little bit of a pace difference between these drivers, especially because we know that Dan McFarlane is one of the pro drivers of our series now going forward. Has quite a bit of pace, a little bit of a front end damage on Gordon Marshall, car number 22 there. So that's going to play a little bit of a role in how this goes. Nope, wrong person. I want to see Rafe Sloot, and a little bit ahead there is Neil Killen trying to battle off Samuel Lindelof. You can see Neil Killen is an amateur driver. And Samuel is a pro, so that is going to be very interesting as well. A little bit of a wiggle under braking from Ryan Moles, and I don't think that's going to help his tires long term. But 22 minutes in, 8 minutes left. You gotta send it and give it everything you got, everything. Don't hold back. Not now. Not anymore. So, this is getting close. So there you go, Neil Killen being challenged up the inside by Samuel Lindlow, and that is going to be an easy pass. And I want to take a look at what's going to happen with Vincent. So Vincent's got the car. Ryan Moles going around the outside. Gordon Marshall, Dan McFarlane also want to try and find a way through, but not quite able to get some overlap and get up there. Just a little bit further back, Adam Schmidt and Andre Karamadaru just battling it out as well. These are two drivers that we haven't seen a lot of so far in this race, and I think that the poor race starts and just unfortunate events have placed them in positions on track they just didn't want to be in, and that is the unfortunate reality. Sometimes that's racing. That's what we love. That's what we want to put it all on the line, get the heart beating. The heart really gets beating 130, 140 beats per minute. Gotta get it up there, or else you're not racing, not living. That's how you do it. Live on the edge, exactly like that. I'm gonna head back to Ryan Moles. I want to take a quickie peek. How is he doing? I can see just a little bit ahead. Samuel Lindlow breaking that draft a little bit more and more to Neil Killen. His nice easy pass there is Ryan Moles being followed by Vincent Ravesloot, Gordon Marshall, and Dan McFarlane. A little bit of a DRS train. Is Dan going to go up the inside after Blanchimont into the chicane? He's definitely got the pace. Gordon Marshall is throwing the outside line, or inside line. I got my inside outside mixed up. There's Dan. Oh! With a little bit of a mistake from the car number 22, and that has allowed Dan McFarlane. Oh, I'm not sure what that was about, but okay. I'm going to take a look at the very front of this race. We have 5 minutes, 30 seconds left. Nicholas Nolda, if you're following along, you can follow along with the timing tower. If I'm not on the exact driver that you want to be following along with in the race, the timing tower tells the story. I intentionally leave everyone's full name and interval up so you can see who's going to be passing where. With the track map, you can see where the pass happens. It doesn't tell the full story. I'm sorry. It doesn't tell the full story, but it does tell a lot of the story. You can get a general idea of what's happening. So Bogdan Moldovan now in first, followed by Nicholas Nolda, Bruno Heinrich. There's Philip Hammer. He was able to get by Dennis Ronsdorf. So Dennis Ronsdorf now has an excellent draft partner. Can follow along with car number 60. And you can see with, I think it's 11. I can actually bring up, if I can figure out where it is really quickly. I'll have to do this another week, but I can bring up, whatever. Lap 11 out of 14 laps, I believe it is, that we have to do. So we have 3 more laps to do, 12, 13, and 14. And Philip Hammer at 3 seconds back. You can follow along with that story to see, is he able to make it back to that very front? Did the patience pay off, or did it bite him in the rear end? As I said, I'm always curious to see how that goes. Let's take a quick look here at Thorsten Seifert. It looks like he's got some cars right around him. Joshua Germany and Benjamin De Pape. So they've shed some of the cars that were around them previously. Oh, and Nicholas Nold is going for the lead of the race at the very front. So I'm really curious to see how this one is going to go. Under braking, Bogdan goes deep. Nicholas Nold able to hold on just barely, so they still have some overlap. Nicholas Nold is sending it into Bruxelles, but oh, and there we go. So Nicholas Nold has taken over the lead of this race and put a car in between him and Bruno Heinrich. So that is really amazing and very lucky. So the aggressive approach of Nicholas Nold has put him into the lead of this race. We're going to have 2 more laps to go, actually, not 3. So this is going to be a 13 lap race, not 14. So there's 2 laps to go. Philip Hammer at 2.6 seconds back. I'm going to have to say it's pretty darn unlikely that too much is going to be happening for Philip the Hammer with that much distance behind. There is Zane Iqbal. He is being followed by Samuel Lindelow. Samuel Lindelow, pro driver, as you can see with the green tag. So one important thing to know about our point scoring is that it doesn't matter if you're in pro or amateur, whichever position you finish in, that is the position of points that you get. And that is a brave dive under braking. Wow, that was a send and a half, and it paid off. It looked like Zane trying to defend it a little bit late, but not able to get that defensive line out there in time. And that's put Lindelow through. That was quite brave. I am glad we caught that. All this talking's in my throat's so sore. I'm gonna have to go drink like 1,000 pounds of water after this race. Oh man, this is quite intense. Is Zane gonna try and go for the line up the inside into the braking zone? No, he does just a little bit. This is intense. And that opens the door for that next car, Gregory Ranks. But don't look now for the lead of the race down the Kemmel Straight and into the Lacombes. There's Nicholas Nold and Bogdan Moldovan for the very final lap. Here we go. Nicholas Nold, shorter distance traveled. Is it going to pay off? It sure didn't pay off for Bogdan Moldovan. The first time round that these guys were in different positions. Is Bruno going to push his luck, go 3 wide? These guys are racing inches away from each other. Nicholas Nold is ahead just barely, and is Bruno Heinrich going to be able to take advantage of this and all of this battling? Just a little bit of grass, and that's put Bruno Heinrich further behind from this battle than he wanted to be. This is absolutely intense. All this battling is going to be bringing Philip the Hammer 1.6 seconds now into the mix. And there is Nicholas Nold still holding on to the lead of the race, with Bogdan Moldovan just barely behind Bruno Heinrich right there. Philip the Hammer 1.5. He is gaining corner by corner. These guys have pooched their tires, and that is playing into the hands of the patience of Philip the Hammer as we come around heading towards Blanchimont for the very last time. And it's anybody's guess how this is going to go. Little bit of a defensive line here from Nicholas Nold, and there's contact, and there he goes and disappears into the shadow realm. Nicholas Nold still on the track. Bruno Heinrich, Philip the Hammer. That puts a lot of drivers up ahead. Many positions. There's Dennis Ronsdorf. There's Bruno Heinrich. Oh, and Nicholas Nold has a drive-through penalty. This is absolutely wild, and that gives the win of the race to Bruno Heinrich. Bruno Heinrich, congratulations. Philip Hammer with the patience, ending in second. There's Dennis Ronsdorf in third. Daniel Thomas in fourth. Emil Kumans, Christian Rzika, Joshua Germany now just coming across the finish line. There's Benjamin Pape. What a race from Benjamin. There's Thorsten Seifert. Lots of positions gained back this race. John Bailiff. There's Daniel Valk. Consistent, decent finish for Daniel Valk in 12th. There's Neil Killen, Vincent Ravesloot, and Duncan Marai? Let's go with Marai. Samuel Lindelow able to finish the race still after blowing his tires apart in the braking zone for Samuel Lindelow. Matthias Detege, Gregory Ranks, Dan McFarlane, Gordon Marshall, those two not having a good time out there, is my prediction. They looked like they were in an incident together. I wasn't able to catch that on tape, though. Gregory Van Geenberg up a lot of positions over his last race. I think most of the drivers are now just coming across the finish line. Here we go. Oh, just barely. Someone almost didn't make it. There you go. He's almost not making it across that finish line. There's Barney waving that checkered flag saying, hey guys, race is over. Bring it on in. And Tyler Marigula bringing up the rear. Dare I say, I somewhat expected that. Sorry to say, Tyler, but maybe one day you'll have better luck. It's just, once you get that consistency down, Tyler, I think you're going to be doing very, very well within the amateur division. It's just that consistency, whoa, and the mindset. It pays off a lot. I'll talk about that maybe more in the next race. Maybe not. We'll see. But the let's see. But hold down. I actually want to take a look. Grouped tower. Here you go. There you go. I want to bring up there. Perfect. There you go. So now you can see the pro drivers who finished well and the amateur drivers who finished well. So there's Bruno Heinrich at the very front, winning the pro. Benjamin DePape. So let's go back to the pro. Bruno Heinrich, Philip Hammer, and Dennis Ronsdorf for the pro. Benjamin DePape, Daniel Valk, and Ryan Moles for the amateur drivers. So great racing for everyone. That was actually a lot of fun to watch. I hope you all had a lot of fun watching that. Let's just pull up those final results and all of that. Get rid of all of that. Perfect. There we go. And go to the very front. And there we go. Let's go through the entire race feature list. Bruno Heinrich, once again, congratulations for that race win. That is a little bit of a luck and a lot of just being in the right place at the right time. Philip Hammer, Dennis Ronsdorf, Daniel Thomas, Emil Koopmans in 5th, Christian Rizika. There's another driver, very consistent, not a lot of incidents, not a lot of chaos, and just being in the right place at the right time. That's put Christian Rizika in 6th position. That's a lot of good points he'll be gaining from this race. Joshua Germany, same thing. Not a lot of chaos, and Benjamin DePape, Thorsten Seifer gained a lot of spots in this feature race. John Bailiff, Daniel Valk, Ryan Moles. What a whole bunch of battles that Ryan Moles had to go through to get into 12th position. That was a lot of intensity, keeping it on the track and just able to finish. Wow. And then there's Neil Killen directly behind Vincent Rafeslu, Duncan Marai, Samuel Lindlow, Nicholas Nold after serving that drive-through, after the drive-through, ended up in 17th. That is an absolute heartbreaker moment for Nicholas Nold. He solidly had that race win in the bag, I would say. And it's just unfortunate that and had to end that way. Matthias Detique, Gregory France, Dan McFarlane way back for a pro driver. Gordon Marshall in 21st. Andre Karamadaru, Mr. C, as it says. Gregory Geenberg gained a lot of positions in that race. Mahai Zaharia, Zane Iqbal, Alexander Redhead, Raz Van Pahantu, Glenn Bronton Turner, Adam Schmidt way back. I think Adam Schmidt, if I understand correctly, had to do 2 pit stops, so that would explain why he's so far back. Kin Fai Law, Alejandro Advani, Tyler Marigula, as we saw last across that finish line. Bogdan Moldovan, I think he got a disqualification for too many incident points, if I checked my records correctly. And that placed him all the way back down into 33rd. So that's real unfortunate. He could have had a podium finish, and incident points just pushed him over that limit, just barely. There's Sander Dreiser. I can't say that name. Please help me. Jordan Strudwick. There's an easy one. Jens Roscher. Bernardo Fari, I'm not sure what happened to him. I think he's had a spin and just decided to call it quits. Jarno Peepers, and then Philip Straffarelli. I don't even think he started, these two bottom guys. And that is it for this race. That is it for our global Euro race. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed me talking to you through this race for that last hour. And anyways, regardless, I'll see you guys all next week at Sebring. It's going to be the Superheats race. You know what? I'll be honest, the Superheats race is going to be a 10-minute race, a 15-minute race with a reverse grid 4, and a 20-minute race with a reverse grid 8. It's not going to be a race where it's easy to just stay consistent and just game point. It's going to be intense. There's not going to be any driver who can win all 3 races. I guarantee you that. If a driver can win all 3 races, I'm shocked, absolutely shocked. So it's going to be a race about who can just put the best racecraft together in 3 consistent races. Really curious to see how this goes with a bigger field. It's going to be absolute chaos in all the most wonderful ways. Super intense. And so, yeah, I can't wait to see you guys all next week. Have a good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're at. And I'll see you guys all later.